Hi guys, I recently did a Q&A video about reading, um, reading questions for new writers or for aspiring authors, and now I'm going to answer 20 writing questions. The first question, question A, is what got you into writing? Staring competition. Thank you for watching. Wanted to answer your question too. What inspired you to start? So I have to go back in my memory. So I definitely wrote, like, we were encouraged to write in school, like grade school, as I'm sure most people were. We were definitely encouraged to write, like, creatively. I went to a one-room schoolhouse, so, like, we had a little bit more freedom when it came to creativity, too. That was definitely part of it. I wrote throughout school creatively through middle school and high school. Senior year of high school, I took a creative writing class. We mostly stuck to short stories. Somebody in that class was writing what we used to call, back in the day, we used to call it chick lit, but, like, I don't think people call it that anymore. So she was writing something like that, and I was like, I could do it a lot better than her, but I don't think I was really thinking that at the time. I just knew that she was, like, not, like, we were reading each other's writing and critiquing, and then, like, every time she came back, she never made any changes at all. I was kind of inspired by her to, like, just write what you like. Like, sometimes writing is just for writing and it doesn't have to be read by anybody else. Subconsciously, I was like, sometimes writing can just be for writing. And I think I took that to heart, but, like, I was like, I was like a snotty teenager, and I was like, well, why aren't you taking any of the critiques? I don't know. I didn't like that class. Anyway, college, I only took one English class. I majored in biology, minored in chemistry, and then I also minored in dance. So I had a lot of other things on my mind. I have regrets because I think I would have really liked taking a creative writing course in college, and I just never did. I think I was, like, I enjoyed the English class that I took very much, and I was able to, like, put sentences in the right order and whatnot, but I felt very exposed when it came to writing fiction, and I wasn't interested in that kind of openness, I guess, because I was a pretty closed off person in general in college. I don't think I wrote at all in optometry school. But if we back up a little bit, starting in high school, maybe middle school, definitely high school, a little bit college and optometry school, I journaled. So, like, I was always writing. As I started my career in optometry, once I started that, I was, okay, I've achieved this and I want to have some sort of creativity in my life. And I knew that right away as soon as I started working. I wasn't, like, completely tied to writing quite yet, but somewhere along the line, I started thinking about stories, and I was like, I know that I can do this. I started thinking about how, even if I don't ever become a mother or a parent, that I want to be able to have a connection with kids in some way, because I also didn't think that I was going to be a teacher. I connected with some kids in optometry, which was, like, best part of my job. The thing that I miss the most is connecting with kids and, like, really helping them and seeing them. And so I think that started me wanting to write. And, like, I looked back in my journals a few years ago, and I looked back in, like, older journals when I wouldn't have thought, if I just tried to base it completely off of my memory, I think I would have said, like, oh, I didn't want to start writing until, like, recently. But I looked back in my journals and I saw a lot of wanting to write different story ideas that I had written. But it wasn't really until 2016, which is when I had to stop working. I was involved in something ... I had to stop working, and I was out of work for a couple of months, and that, like, really scared me. And but it also opened things up that I could start doing, like, some more creative things, and I just started writing, like, in my, like, every morning I would wake up and in my phone I would just write whatever story came to mind. I would write about like something that I mused about in in my dreams, and that's where I kind of got started. I started doing writing outlines out. I had a lot of story ideas. All right, they're still in my like notes app, like just brain dump, like bleh, like whatever I was thinking at the time. It must have been my nephew's birthday for in 2019, and my brother said, "I'm going to do NaNoWriMo this year." And then I was like, "Oh, you should do it too." I was talking to my husband, telling my husband I had recently asked him to stop working because it wasn't like his job wasn't working out with him mentally. So I asked him to stop working when we got married. And so, like, I wanted to encourage him to do something creative, and he's still doing something creative. You can see us on Sea Monster YK. So I was like, "Oh, you should do it." And then my brother was like, "You should do it too." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I do have an outline already, so maybe I should." So then I had like something of an outline that wasn't like very concrete yet. And it was like the end of October. I had a couple of days, November 1st, and I just started writing. And it was not terrible. Like the ideas weren't bad, but I had no idea what I was doing. I had not learned any of the stuff that I taught in my series about planning your novel, but I did it. And then as I got confidence in writing, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can write good characters, I can write interesting stories, and I can do it. And then over the course of the next year, that's when I started learning more about like how to actually outline, and that's how I got it started. To make that whole long answer short, what got you into writing is like basically like every step of the way. I'm a creative person, and like I slowly gained the confidence and the courage to be able to start writing. Question B: do you have favorite authors that inspired you in a particular direction or influenced your style? Okay, so I definitely, like I talked about this in my reading Q&A, definitely Lewis Sacker has been a, like the beating heart of like why I want to write. I feel like he writes differently, and he touched me with his words. The emotions that Angeline and Someday Angeline, Gary in Dogs Don't Tell Jokes, and I cannot remember the character's name in There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom. The characters and the emotions that those characters go through, that, and also the girl in Sixth Grade Secrets, like they all go through like pretty intense emotions for like more irreverent books. That got me. So that is definitely something that I wanted to like emulate, and it's definitely a big inspiration for me. Megan McCafferty, she's one. She's like definitely like a little bit of a more irreverent, and like the stories are just like, because they're so irreverent, they're more real. Like there's levity and in darkness, and there's darkness in happiness. They make me feel like I can do it, and they make me feel like what I will write and what I have written and what I will continue to write is valuable. Wow, I have so much to say about writing. Who knew? Question C: can you describe your current manuscript? Okay, so I'm in between manuscripts, so I can describe broad strokes what is all going on. So that first manuscript that I wrote, 2019, my first NaNoWriMo, that's about a girl who's about to turn 13. And then I pretty much scrapped that. And but I think I will go back to that eventually. I just have to like go through the planning process of those. Then I wrote about a girl who went to a one-room schoolhouse when she was younger, and she's just recently graduated high school, and she's thinking about all the ramifications of what it was like when she was treated as she was treated when she was in the one-room schoolhouse. I have recently decided to extend those stories backwards so that the story actually starts when she's, I think, a sophomore. So then I can, like, I have a lot of stories that lead up to the first story that I wrote. That is what I kind of consider my first successful NaNoWriMo. That's the first manuscript that I call a manuscript, and a first draft that I have. So I want to flesh that out. The second manuscript that I wrote, I want to write 2 sequels, at least 2 sequels. Two is about an only child of a single mother. There's a little bit of mystery, a lot of angst. And so I want to write 2 sequels to that involve like travel. And then the next one I wrote was the bowling alley one, about a bowling alley mechanic. I did already write a sequel on the bowling alley mechanic. That's what you could consider my current manuscript because it's my most recent one. And the sequel to that is from his little sister's point of view, who is trying to change the world by learning how to sew. And so I want to stay in that world and write some more books in that world as well. Like I mentioned before, books can be irreverent, so like I'm interested in writing some more serious books in that world, but then also some like really light and carefree books in that same world with those same characters. D, what's your writing routine? Routine is shaky. When my husband goes to work at the print shop, when I don't have any work to do, like I also work at the print shop, but there's not always work for me. So sometimes he goes to work at the print shop and then I go to work at the library and I write the entire time. When I'm really into it, and especially if I'm participating in NaNoWriMo, I will write whenever I can. Sometimes I wake up and I feel like I can write and I write. Or like it's the end of the day and I'm like, ugh, I didn't write today. I have to write. And I just, like, I stop whatever I'm doing and I just start writing. So I wouldn't call it a routine. I drop my husband off at work. Sometimes I get him a breakfast sandwich and I get myself sometimes a coffee, but most of the time I make myself a tea that I can bring with me in a thermos, and I make myself like a nut and cereal mix that I can snack on while I write. And then I walk to the library, which is like pretty close, like maybe 5 minutes away on foot. Then I choose a cubby, I disinfect the cubby, then I sit down, I open like everything up, and then I basically right away take out my nut mix and I start eating it. And then I write a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, it's time to get up. So then I do my rounds around around the library. I go to the bathroom. I pick out any books if I want to pick out any books. And I get the crossword puzzle. I get any coloring pages that I want. And I look at the free books. And then I sit back down and I write again. I often base when I finish writing on weather. If the sun is setting, then I'll pack up sooner. If it's raining, but there's a break in the rain, I'll pack up and then I'll just walk back to the print shop. Sometimes I want to keep writing and writing and writing, but I try to keep a little bit of idea and inspiration for the next time that I sit down to write. Question E, how do you develop your characters? Are they based on people you know? Yes. I think most of my characters have have an element of myself, of my inner monologue, my inner world. I would say most of my characters have that. My villains or my other characters, they're often based on, like, if I have a grievance or something, or if, like, something really starts to bother me or sicken me, then I really start to put those aspects into my villains. So those are based off of not people that I know, but behaviors from people that I know, or behaviors from people that I observe, because in this day and age with social media and YouTube and all that, you don't have to know people to really observe them. That's part of it. How they develop is like I do a lot of planning, and I think I have a video about main character and like main character splash sheets. I care about them, especially my main characters. I care about them feeling unseen because that's mostly what I want to write about. Feeling unseen, feeling unheard, and I care about them. And I as a grown adult, I think about the things that I didn't realize until really late in life. Not really late in life, but later in life. And things that I wish that I had known earlier on. I put some realizations into my younger characters and ways that I wish that I could have been parented and whatnot. Things I wish I had known as a younger person. Question F. Do you outline your stories? Yes, I do. I do very much so. If you watch my series about planning your novel, outline your novel, you'll see that I do it quite a bit. G. How do you handle writer's block or inspiration lack? Inspiration lack, don't have that much. Sometimes I have the inspiration and then I lack the bridge between the inspiration and the story. That's okay. I let it marinate in my head for years sometimes. I'm totally okay with that. I have other things that I could be working on. Writer's block, that can hit kind of harder. Sometimes I just don't feel like writing. I honor my body and my mental state, and I have lots of other things that I could do. Writer's block, when I'm like set up and going to the library, then I will reread what I just wrote, what I most recently wrote, and that usually helps me out. Or I look through my outline. Question H. What's the hardest part of the writing process? I imagine the hardest part of the writing process is the stuff that I haven't done yet, and that is editing and reaching out to agents, finding an agent, getting published, doing all of that kind of work on a deadline. That I imagine is harder, and I think that's why I'm scared to start. The hardest part of the writing process so far, I'm not great at finishing. So like sometimes I'll start a NaNoWriMo, I'll get the 50,000 words, no problem. And then I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. And then that break lasts months. Question I. Do you have rituals or habits that help you get into the writing zone? Yes, I do. What helps like so much more than I would have imagined is making a soundtrack for that book. I make soundtracks that I listen to when I'm writing particular books. I do have a writing mix that is just like songs that I like that don't have any lyrics or anything. And I will listen to that if I don't have a soundtrack yet. But when I make the soundtracks that I use, and I listen to them enough that it's okay that they do have lyrics, it's crazy. For one of my books, my soundtrack included like an entire Moby album. Whenever I hear a song from that Moby album, I like am flooded with thinking about that character, that book, other things I can write about that character. So like making your own personal soundtrack for writing, it's like really weird. It gets you into the zone. Jay, how do you decide on the themes and messages in your works? So the themes and messages is almost always going to be something like honor yourself, listen to yourself, be heard, listen to other people, something like that. You're not alone. My messages and themes are always going to be like some variation of that. I feel like this writing one is going a lot longer than my reading one. Okay, how do you go about editing and revising your work? So I haven't done that. I imagine I'm going to reread it. No writing or anything, just reread it. Without looking back, I'm going to just write out everything that happens. And then I'm going to reread it again with like an editor's mindset and just make sure everything serves the purpose or serves a purpose. L, do you share your work with others for feedback during or after the writing process? Yeah, I have, but like before the writing process, especially when I'm outlining, I ad nauseum. Like I talk about all the little things about my characters. Like my husband hasn't read my books or my outlines, and he knows so much what happens to them because I just like when we're on walks, we just like talk about it. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone starting their writing journey? Oh, one piece. So like out of all of the things I've already shared so much on YouTube about lots of advice, but one piece of advice that I'd give someone starting would be to journal. A close second would be to read and just read more. And how do you handle criticism? I think I would be okay at handling criticism, but I don't know. Oh, what are your goals and dreams for your writing journey? Okay, so my goals are to edit what I've written already and to find an agent. Those are my goals for the next 1 or 2 years. My overall goal is to be published at all. Dream, like my big dream would be to have several books published, especially like all the sequels and stuff. My goals for next year are to edit my stories and to start reaching out to agents because I know I might not find an agent right away. So like, but if I start getting that ball rolling, then like that is crossing a big to do off of my list. I said sometimes writing is just for writing, but this is a goal of mine to get my books published and get younger readers reading my words. P. How do you balance writing with other aspects of life? I think I kind of touched on this already. Like I said, I have other things to do. So if I have writer's block, I honor my writer's block. This month, I had to do a lot of crafting, and I had to work a lot at the print shop for calendars and cards and whatnot. So I haven't been sitting down to write for a while, and like so, I wouldn't say it's like evenly balanced through the year. So the way it's balanced is like some months I write a lot and then some months I write very little or not at all, and like it balances itself out that way. Q. Have you participated in writing groups, workshops, or classes? So I haven't started that joining that writing group that I took a workshop with them last year. I loved it. I loved the workshop that I took. But the students in that workshop, who were made up mostly of writers who attend the writing group, they were like a little bit tightly wound and like it was a little bit strange for me. So I haven't done that, but I think I am interested. If I can find some people who are not tightly wound, but like still know a lot and can encourage a lot, I think that would be great. R. What motivates you to keep writing even when it's challenging? It's kind of like a puzzle. It's satisfying because you're getting closer and closer to the end. The dream, right? The dream of uh, getting people to know, like, I care about my characters because they represent younger kids who might not be heard right now. So, like, thinking about them, that definitely motivates me to keep writing. S. How do you decide when a manuscript is finished or ready to submit? I'm not quite there yet. I have the idea because my husband is like really pushing me. I think he has the idea that I'm a perfectionist, but I don't think I am. I just want to go through and edit a little bit, but I haven't been ready to do that. And so I think I'm going to not force myself, but kind of like encourage myself and gain the confidence to be able to submit it like as soon as possible because I know that I have done the majority of the work that I can do at this point, and I cannot do much more work until I have somebody else with more knowledge and more background in writing and publishing and editing can help me. And so I think I will be okay when I get to a point where I am not moving forward with the work anymore. As long as I do the work, but I really haven't gone through the work to like really edit yet. I'll probably like edit just a couple of times and then like I'm gonna start trying to find people to help me, because I know there's gonna be a lot of work after I submit something. There are people who are there to help me, and I don't want to try to do their job when I have no place, when I have no leg to stand on to try to do their job. And like I also know that I can't do my job until I have their help first. And I'm trying to get like it's less so perfectionism and it's more social anxiety and like imposter syndrome and like fear of like, not even fear of failure, because like I'm fine with failure. It's just like the fear of like the social repercussions of failure that scares me. So like I'm really working on that. I think I'll be good. Like I've made the resolution basically. T, can you share a favorite line or paragraph from your current work in progress? I knew this was coming and I didn't pick one. So I'm not going to do a favorite one. I'm going to do a random one. So I'm just going to open up. So I'm just going to start reading here. To be fair, Willow says, Lara Croft wears a tank top, and you know what that means. Bare shoulders, Adriana says. Well, speaking of being curvy, that's what I got in trouble for. Like you, Willow, I outgrew some of my shirts, and I didn't really realize, you know? So my shirt was tight, and I had to change into my gym shirt. It was really stupid, though, because all of my skin was covered. It wasn't fair. If a boy or even a small chested girl wears something tighter, it's never a problem. I was pretty mad, Elijah says, so when Willow got in trouble twice, we wanted to do something about it. We started a petition and got the school board to go over the dress code more carefully to make sure it was fair to everyone. They didn't do a perfect job, but at least they changed some of the line items for the first time in years. You two did that all by yourself? I'm surprised. That's really impressive. It's like everywhere I look, someone is making another difference. I hold up the pants I'm hemming into shorts. They aren't a work of art, but upcycling really works. I start to have a glimmer of hope that my efforts will actually make a difference too. Not completely by ourselves, Elisha says. We had to get practically everyone in our middle school to sign to get the school board to even look at our petition. But Elijah did get it all started, Willow adds. It was really cool of him to want the dress code to be equitable to girls. Thanks, Willow. Even if Lara Croft was the girl you wanted to have rights. The right to bear arms, am I right? Elijah jokes. You've been quiet, Ren. You didn't have any dress code horror stories? Nope, Ren answers too quickly. Wow, you answered that way too fast, Willow says. Spill it. It's stupid. That's the point, Ren, Willow says. These are all stupid and pointless, but they embarrassed us and made us feel bad. All the times teachers call a student out for dress codes, it puts the responsibility on the kids when the only people in the situation who are uncomfortable are the adults. I guess that's the first time I publicly shared something that I wrote. But yeah, that was the last question. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're a writer or an aspiring author and you wanted to answer these questions, please do so. If you have any differences of opinion, I would love to hear it, and you can leave them in the comments below. Tag me if you can, if you do make a video about this. I'm very interested to hear what everyone else is saying. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me and it makes me feel good. I love seeing your comments too. And if you want to see more videos about my writing process and my writing journey and my reading journeys, I have lots of videos to come. Please subscribe to this channel, and thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you next time. Bye!